Welcome to the Heavenly Treasury broadcast, where we help believers achieve God's financial abundance for your life. Did you have a good Thanksgiving yesterday? Did you spend it with family, friends? Did you eat the good food? All right, what's your favorite Thanksgiving food? All things considered, what is it? For me, it's the sweet potatoes. Love the sweet potatoes, the butter, the cinnamon, the butter. Did I mention the butter? The sugar, all that stuff. And you get out, and again, doesn't matter where you are. If you're with a group of people, you're likely going to have some sort of a feast. Because remember, Thanksgiving is a time to be very, very grateful, and it's a time to celebrate. And what do most Americans love celebrating with? Food. Of course. We're the largest people on planet Earth. Literally, all right? You don't get that way by just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. You get it by eating. You get it by eating, okay? And that's one of the big things we do. I know if you're Italian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For you, Sundays, you're just eating from noon till when you go to bed. Noon for when you go to bed. There's always somebody eating. It's like, I remember when I was looking at Jim Valvano, the favorite college basketball coach, guy ended up dying of cancer. But when he was doing an interview, he always used to say when his Italian family got together, he would eat from noon till like 9 p.m. on Sundays, and halftime would be at 6, where they would just sit and do nothing, okay? Crazy to think about. But again, Thanksgiving, all about the food, all about enjoyment, all about Thanksgiving. Again, we see the word Thanksgiving, and what do we really think about? It's the holiday, all right? It's the holiday where you're probably not working. Some of you may have been, all right? It's just the way the chips fall. Of course, if you work for the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to be working on Thanksgiving. If you work for the Detroit Lions, you're going to be working on Thanksgiving. It's just the way the job works, all right? But again, if you're the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions, guess what? Are you really unhappy that you're working on Thanksgiving? No, because you're making a very large income, all right? And so you don't mind working on Thanksgiving and then going home and maybe celebrating later in the evening or the following morning, whatever it is, right? You know, did you drive a long way for Thanksgiving? Some of you are driving 1, 2, 3 hours to grandma's house, to your aunt's house, being that great son-in-law that you normally like being doing, but you are anyway, right? So anyways, I really enjoy Thanksgiving. It's always a time when you just celebrate and truly give thanks. All right, but really, what do most people give thanks for on Thanksgiving? Okay, now I'm not going to get into a history lesson on Thanksgiving, but ultimately speaking, Thanksgiving, when the first pilgrims came to America, I believe I was reading somewhere that during one of the first winters that they had here, it was so harsh that they were eating a kernel of corn per day. That's how harsh the winter was when they first got here. Because remember, they got on a wooden boat. They sailed to a land that nobody ever heard of. Quite frankly, they didn't even really know existed until they saw it with their own eyes. But they went there, likely due to what they were called to do from the Lord. And yet here we are today as a result of those people. And so from my perspective, from somebody whose ancestors have been in this country for a very long time, of my 4 grandparents, 3 of them can trace their heritage back to before the country was founded, for when my ancestors got here. And the 4th one came over from Hungary in the late 1800s. So my ancestors have been in this land for a very long time. And so Thanksgiving for me is a very nice reflection of that, of all that hard work and all that effort that they were able to do. Okay? Now, maybe your family came here 2 minutes ago, so to speak. Maybe your Thanksgiving is very different than mine. But from my perspective, as somebody who's American by blood and has been for literally centuries, that's really one of the big focal points for me is all the ancestors of mine who came before me and did all that work, all that effort, many of whom were believers. Some of them not, but many of whom were believers and followed the Lord and did what they were supposed to do. And yet now I get to reap the benefits. That for me is the biggest Thanksgiving that I have on that holiday, is that. Now again, maybe you come from a different culture, your Thanksgiving looks a little bit different, okay? But for me, as an American, wholehearted and true, that's my Thanksgiving, for me, personally, on Thanksgiving. So that was my primary focus beyond just the food and the enjoyment and the rest, okay? But for me, I have to think about other things that I'm thankful for, not just on Thanksgiving, but on a daily basis. Because Thanksgiving really can be a Kickstarter. If you haven't been thankful and joyful as much as you should be, Thanksgiving is a great opportunity for you to kind of kickstart that Thanksgiving to be able to get steamrolling. How does that work? How does that lead to financial increase? Well, you'll find out by the end of this broadcast, okay? So, Thanksgiving, what specifically is it? What specifically should we be thankful for? Of course, we are thankful as believers for serving a loving, graceful God who's with us every single day. Even when we're not with him, he's with us. Even before we were saved, he was with us. Okay, he watched us, he formed us in our mother's womb. Even if your mother was not a believer, he still formed you there. Okay? So that's something else to be thankful for, of course. Okay? But, him sending his son to die for us 2,000 years ago, that's a big thankful too. Okay? Of course, if you have a family, your family is something you should be thankful for, even if you don't like them. All right? They're with you and they're part of you, okay? Because you share the same bloodline. That's going to make for a very different and unique relationship than anybody else you'll ever meet. Okay? So that's something else to be thankful for. But other than that, those are really the big obvious, I should say obvious, because if you are going to be genuinely thankful on Thanksgiving, that's typically what you're going to be thankful for. Okay? And, some of you are obviously thankful for a nice couch and a good TV to watch your football on, or watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That's always a big tradition, okay? So you could be thankful for that. But other than that, those big core items, what specifically are we thankful for, and how can that truly lead to financial increase for us, or at least prevent the decrease as well? Okay? That's what we're going to talk about now. So how does that happen? All right? So first of all, when it comes to being thankful, what else are you thankful for besides serving a God, Jesus, your family, your friends, maybe your career, whatever you got, your business? Obviously, those are things to be thankful for. And your kids. What else should you be thankful for? Okay? How about this? How about the breath you're breathing right now? That's something to be thankful for because the Lord gave you another day. The Lord gave you another day, and it's time for you to be productive with that day and doing exactly what he called you to do. So if you're not sure about that, it's time for you to go to prayer and ask him. Okay? There's also other things you could be thankful for. Do you have 2 hands? 2 hands. That's something to be thankful for as well. Okay? Do you have 5 fingers on each hand? 5 here, 5 here. That's something to be thankful for because guess what? Otherwise, you can't type, or at least not type well. Okay? Because a lot of careers and a lot of businesses today are built on the backs of computers. In order to do that, you need 2 very good hands and a functioning brain to be able to make that happen. Those are things to be thankful for. How about the clothes on your back? That's something to be thankful for. How about the toes on your feet? That's something to be thankful for because if you lose one big toe, you're not walking anymore. That's just how important your big toe is to you. You literally cannot walk. If you've ever been injured in any way, shape, or form on your toe, on your big toe, you've stubbed it in any way, you dropped something on it, or God forbid you broke the bone in that toe, guess what? You're not walking and it hurts like you know what. Because there are a lot of things we take for granted every single day. That you can't possibly be thankful for every single possible thing in your life. You can't. You would literally spend all day long just being thankful out of your mouth and out of your mouth. And by doing that, you're not really going to get anything done. But the highlights of things that we are thankful for, we should definitely do that. And a lot of the days we should be thankful for things that we do take for granted, and we don't know that we take them for granted until they're gone. Okay? So if you have just like I said before, if you stub your big toe and now you're going to be carted around all the time, going to the bathroom is just a little bit different and you're in a wheelchair than when you're standing up. Going to the shower is very different if you're in a wheelchair than when you're standing up. Those are things that we can and should be thankful for, believe it or not. Okay? Now again, I'm not trying to guilt you into saying, oh, we should be thankful for living in America. Yes, we should be thankful for living in America if that's where you're watching from. Okay? But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, well, you should be thankful for living in America because a third world country is doing XYZ. They don't have internet. They don't have air conditioning. They don't have heat. They don't have a government that for whatever reason, all that stuff. Yes, that's important too. I'm not going to do that because it really irritates me because again, I know what my ancestors went through to build the country we have today. All right. And so if they went through that, then other people can do that too for that same very reason. Okay. So beyond that particular perspective, all right, that's just my perspective. Again, somebody who's an American and loves this country very much and loves the people in this land. That's a perspective that I have. And one of the big reasons why I'm thankful for my ancestors, what they did on Thanksgiving. Okay? So there's other things you can be thankful for besides just your body parts as well. You can be thankful for having a roof over your head. Most of you who are watching this do have a roof, which is in a foundation, which is in the ground some way. All right, that's something that we can be thankful for. You may have moss growing on the side of your roof. Okay, it's still being genuinely grateful for what you have. Not saying you should be satisfied with that, but at least you can be grateful for what you have there. Okay. You can have if you have a functioning vehicle where you can just go in, turn the keys, and go. You would be surprised how different your life would be if you did not have a vehicle. You would be very, very surprised. And we take that for granted a lot of the times that we have functioning vehicles in our driveway or in our garage or wherever we park it. Okay? That's something too. Again, it may leak more oil than it does gas. At least it gets you somewhere. Now, I'm not saying you should be satisfied with that. Again, that's a topic for a different discussion. I'm talking about being genuinely grateful for what we have today. Again, I'm not using this to guilt you. I'm doing this to open your eyes because there's a lot of things that we take for granted every single day that we are not genuinely grateful that Thanksgiving comes out of our mouth. So why is this important? Why am I talking about this? Why am I, again, seemingly guilting you into being thankful for things? Again, I'm not trying to guilt you into that. I promise you that. I'm doing this so that you can get your mind right on being genuinely grateful and being genuinely happy where you are. No matter where you are, you can make the choice today to be happy. I promise you that. It may be difficult for you to do that. You may think, oh, I'm sick. Oh, I just lost my job. Oh, my business got cut in half last month. You can still be happy where you are. You can, okay? And why is this important? Because the Lord loves blessing happy people. He loves blessing happy people. And before you can walk into that blessing, you have to be able to be genuinely grateful. He's not going to lift up angry people. Now, yes, some people are more bold and more convicted in their speech. We talked about that in the last session and why that's important. Even if you're a quiet type, you can still have conviction and boldness that comes out of your mouth and other people will follow you. We talked about that in the last session. If you haven't watched it yet, go back. It's on YouTube, the recording, okay? So what do we do right now to show the Lord, hey, we are genuinely grateful, okay? Well, let's talk about this, all right? Let's go to Psalm 4, which we're going to go to right now. All right, this is Psalm 4 right here. God, lift up the light of your face upon us. You have put more gladness in my heart than in the season that their grain and wine increased. What does that mean? You have put more gladness in my heart than in the season that their grain and wine increased. That means it's more important to the Lord for you to have gladness in your heart than it is to have an increase in income. All right, let me repeat that. It is more important to have joy in your heart and genuine happiness in your heart than it is to have an increase in income. Again, I'm going to go throughout this broadcast and all the sessions that we do, I'm going to talk about a lot of different topics because there's a lot of you watching this right now who have had the same or stagnant or even decreasing income for months, if not years, and you're wondering why. Well, I can promise you this. Some of you are literally this close to taking that next step and going into the place where the Lord really, really wants to bless you and have that financial abundance. You literally could be one thing away from doing that. And for some of you watching this, it could be your happiness. That could be the one thing holding you back. If you get genuinely unhappy when other people get blessed, God's not going to bless you. If you are not genuinely happy for what you have today, again, not necessarily being satisfied with what you have today, but at least being grateful for what you have today. If you are not grateful, the Lord's not going to bless you. Okay? Because remember, as the Lord increases you, He's going to also increase the visibility over you from other people as well. Okay? That's really important because as the Lord blesses you in your abundance, you can't be doing this from the corner of your home. He's going to have other people who are going to watch you. Because remember, the hundredfold, when you follow Jesus wholeheartedly, the hundredfold is guaranteed, but the persecution is also guaranteed. In order to be persecuted, somebody has to be watching you. And as you increase financially, more people are going to be watching you. So you have to be genuinely happy and grateful where you are at right now. Because if you can be genuinely happy and grateful where you are right now, then no matter where the Lord takes you, you're still going to be happy, because where the Lord is taking you is better than where you are today. That's the key to being genuinely grateful, and why genuinely grateful people are genuinely financially abundant. That's why. Okay? So let me repeat that. It is more important to have gladness in your heart than it is to have an increase in income. So when you are genuinely grateful, that is an open door for the Lord to bless you. It is. Because the Lord has to bless happy people. He doesn't want to bless sad people. Because remember, the blessing of the Lord makes a man rich, but adds no sorrow. If blessing you with financial increase is going to lead to sorrow, guess what? The riches are not going to come with the Lord. Now, you may obtain them some other way without the Lord, right? A lot of people do that. But if you're a believer and you really want to go higher with the Lord, you're going to have to get things right today before the financial abundance comes tomorrow. That's the important key. And one of those, you have to be genuinely happy where you're at right now, no matter what you're going through. I don't care if you're listening to this driving home from your dad in the hospital who has terminal cancer. You have to be genuinely happy where you are right now. I understand that a lot of you going through this are going through very tough circumstances. You're going through very tough financial circumstances, health circumstances, familial circumstances, parental circumstances. I get that, all of that. You have to be genuinely happy where you're at. When you read the Psalms, you may not realize this, but a lot of the Psalms were written by King David. And if you look at the story of King David, God told him that he was going to be, at least I believe that God told him that, or Samuel, that's right. Samuel told David that he was going to be king, that King David was going to be king over all of Israel. Yet he went through a lot of years. In fact, 7 years he was leader over a smaller kingdom before he got king of all of Israel. And a lot of the times while he was in that process of becoming king, he slept in a cave. Now think about this. If you were on the run from your enemies and the Lord said you're going to be king over Israel and you're sleeping in a cave, how can you be genuinely grateful for that? You have no food, you have no water, you can't even see the sunlight, because if you roll the rock over that from the cave you're sleeping in right now and see the sunlight, there's arrows literally pointing at your cave, ready to kill you. But yet, if you read the Psalms, he was genuinely happy that the Lord was with him always, and genuinely happy for the things he had in his life. All right? So just think about that for a second. Again, there's always somebody who has it worse than you. I'm not going to guilt you into that. It never worked with me and just made me angrier. I have to go to the Bible and see what does the Bible say and how the Bible characters got out of where they're at. It's because of the genuine joy and happiness. He was always happy no matter where King David was, no matter what he did. Even when he sent Uriah to the front line and had him killed so he could sleep with Uriah's wife, okay? Even in that circumstance, he was still genuinely happy for his presence with the Lord, okay? So no matter where you are, you have to be genuinely happy where you're at, no matter what circumstance you're going to, okay? Because why am I so focused on this? Because if you lose your joy and you lose your happiness and you stop being grateful, you're going to lose your income. All right? I know that even if you're a tither, even if you're a faithful tither, you're going to lose. Why? Joel 1:12. Let's take a look at this. Here it is. Joel 1:12. The vine has dried up and the fig tree droops. Pomegranate, also palm and apple tree. All the trees of the field are dried up. Why? Here it is. Because joy has dried up among the sons of men. That means your increase is going to not only not come, but decrease is going to come if you stop being happy and you stop being joyful. That's why. That's why I'm harping on this so much. It is not to guilt you. I promise you that. Every other person and every other message you hear on Thanksgiving is going to guilt you in some way, shape, or form because somebody else on planet Earth has it worse than you. They do. I'm not putting that aside. But I'm telling you, if you're going to rise higher in financial increase with the Lord, you have to be happy today. You have to be happy today. You do. No matter what. I promise you, it's the way to lead to increase. It opens the door. Just like I've talked about before, giving, when you give to the Lord with tithes and offerings, it opens the door to financial increase. Just like is the same with joy and happiness. And guess what? Joy costs nothing. Happiness costs nothing. No matter where you are, you can still be happy where you are. No matter what. It doesn't matter how much or how little is in your bank, because if you're happy now with what little's in your bank, imagine how much happier you're going to be when you get that much higher in your bank. Okay? And that's the way the Lord looks at it. If the Lord sees that you're happy now, where you're at now, then you're going to be significantly happier as he starts blessing you with financial abundance. That's the key. That's the key to leading to financial increase, and why genuine gratefulness is so, so important. I cannot stress this enough. To be happy, to be happy, to be happy, to be genuinely happy. Okay? Now, how do we get joy? How do we get happiness? I talked about this at the very beginning, but I want to confirm this with the scripture that I know I've showed multiple times. And there's a reason for that. It's 1 Thessalonians 5. Here it is. Okay? 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 18. It's this. In all circumstances, give thanks, for this is the desire of Elohim and Messiah Yeshua for you. So let me repeat that in English in case you missed that. In all circumstances, give thanks, for this is the desire of God and Jesus for you. That's that verse. That is the desire of God and Jesus for you. Okay? Now, after you get saved, of course, one of the biggest desires of God is that all men and women come to know him, all right, and be saved and enter heaven and serve him all the days of their life. That's also very important, and that's what God wants. But as a believer, if you have said the prayer of salvation and you believe in your heart that you're going to heaven, this is the next most important thing right here. 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 18. In all circumstances, give thanks. Let me say that again. In all circumstances, give thanks. That's why I'm harping on this so much. Because, again, to get the sorrowless riches that the Lord wants to give you, you have to be genuinely grateful for where you are at right now. And how do you do that? Speaking thanksgiving. Speaking thanksgiving through your mouth. That's how we do it. That's how we get that open door to the Lord for financial abundance. All right? Now, again, there's other things you have to do, but I'm talking about opening the door. Because if you're working as hard as I know you're working, and you're doing everything with a whole heart, and you are working like a dog, and the Lord called you to an arena, and you're doing everything you possibly can, every day, shape, and form, beyond the prayer, beyond the Bible reading, beyond the praying in the Spirit, beyond going to church, beyond that, even if you're doing all that and you're working diligently with excellence and doing work exactly the way the Lord wants you to do, but you're still not seeing financial abundance, and you're in a path of being a laborer or a master, this is probably the last thing that you're missing. And that's why I'm harping on this on Thanksgiving. Because Thanksgiving, the holiday, can really be a jump starter for you to be able to get that Thanksgiving and grace and abundance that the Lord has for you. How? By speaking thanksgiving, okay? I'm going to end with what the Lord told me to do yesterday. Because every single day, especially this week, I've woken up every single day, and after my prayers that I say in my heart and my spirit in the morning, I ask the Lord, what would you have me do today? What do you want me working on today? How do you want me to do it today? And I did that yesterday. Even on Thanksgiving, I did it yesterday. And the Lord was very, very clear and very succinct in his command for me. It was, do no work and be happy. That's what the Lord had me do yesterday. Do no work and be happy. All day. That's all he wanted me to do. Do no work and be happy. Yes, I cooked a lot, and that takes effort. It's not work per se. All right, I'm not building a house. I'm not fixing a computer. I'm not, building a new water supply line or building a well or something like that, or farming or fixing somebody's teeth. I'm not doing that work. But in terms of effort, yes, that was effort to cook the food, and I loved it. My wife and I cooked together all day long. We even made pie crust together. It's one of those things. Have you ever been cooking and you watch a video online and you see some reel, all right, and the food just looks so delicious, and it's this handmade stuff, and you think, I'm gonna try that, and then you do it, and it's you save $3 or $4 to do it yourself, but it ends up taking 2 hours. Yeah, that was us with pie crust yesterday. It was awesome. I'm glad I did it, but I'm only going to do it once. I'm just going to pay for it next time. Doesn't matter. But it was fun to do it ourselves with the flour, the water, the butter, and all that, the sugar, salt, and all that, rolling it out. That was fun. I'm not going to lie. It was fun to do an activity with my spouse yesterday. Okay? But other than that, not doing that again. You've probably done the same thing. Like, I saw a video of some lady who literally, I kid you not, made chocolate from scratch. Took the plant that the chocolate comes out of and made the chocolate step by step by step by step by step. Okay? You know, instead of paying $2 for a bag of chocolate kisses at the store, you buy the plant and do it yourself. Okay? I couldn't believe the steps you have to take to make chocolate. It's just beyond insane. They literally have to, again, I'm probably going to butcher this, but you have to take the chocolate plant and then you have to scoop out the inside, then filter out the seeds that are in the inside, bake it, put it in a blender, whisk it around, put it back out, bake it again, and then you finally have the chocolate. Okay? And that's just a chocolate powder. That's not actual chocolate. That's just for cocoa powder. Okay? And then to make chocolate, it's even more steps. Like, sorry, I'm paying $2. I don't care. Okay? But a lot of things like that, again, things to be grateful for. But yesterday, literally, my only instructions for the entire day were do no work and be genuinely happy. That's it. And there were a lot of times when a couple of times, I kid you not, I did lose it a couple of times. Not seriously lose it. I didn't throw anything through the wall, but I did lose it a little bit. But other than those 2 times, it was just every single time I would think about, hey, you know, I normally do something, but today I'm going to be genuinely happy. Because that's what the Lord commanded me to do, was to be genuinely happy, no matter what. Okay? With my kids, with my wife, with everybody who was there, and everything. Okay? That's what the Lord commanded me to do, was to just be genuinely happy. And you would be surprised if you took one day, you started out the day. I'm going to leave with this. Here's what I'd like for you to do. Watch what happens to your day if you do this. You start the day, you get up a half an hour to an hour earlier, and you go to some special room in your house, if you have one. If you're in an apartment with a lot of people, try to go outside somewhere where you're not anywhere near anybody else. And you be genuinely happy and genuinely thankful for certain things that we've talked about throughout this broadcast. Be genuinely happy for fingers on your hands. Be genuinely happy for a functioning brain. Be genuinely happy for a mouth and ears and eyes and a nose and your provision that you have, however much or how little it is, your car, your family, your children, your wife. Go through all the list of things that you're genuinely grateful for. Because remember, we talked about in this broadcast about why it's important, because joy opens the door for genuine financial increase and genuine blessing from the Lord. Okay? That's why we did it. But start your day with this. Be genuinely thankful. And the Thanksgiving is not on a list. The Thanksgiving has to come out of your mouth. Why? Because when it leaves your mouth, it goes through your heart. When you're thankful for things, then it goes into your heart and then into your spirit as well. Because the Word of God I just showed you is how to get joy and how to get thankfulness and how to get happiness. I just showed you right here. So, once again, go to a quiet place. Don't just list out some things, but get in your spirit right now things that you're genuinely happy for. No matter what they are, no matter how silly they may seem. Do that to beginning. And then once you're done, and you will be, I promise you're going to feel lifted. You're going to feel lifted like you just had a big fat cup of coffee with 3 shots of espresso after that prayer session. That, I promise you, is going to happen. If you've never done it before, you're going to be really excited. It's going to build you up. Why? Because the Word of God said when you pray like this, it's going to lift you up. It's going to lift your spirits. Not just God's spirits, but your spirits as well. So, beyond that, you're going to feel really excited. Now, throughout the day, I want you to just tell yourself, be genuinely happy. Be genuinely happy. No matter who you run into, if they've been pissing you off for 6 months straight, you look at them in the eye and you say to yourself, be happy. Be happy. And you watch the different reaction you get throughout the day. And you will notice when you interact with different people throughout the day, even people who have known you for years, and you just tell yourself, be genuinely happy. Be genuinely happy today. You are going to see a very different reaction out of them. And that's also going to open doors for you that otherwise would not. Be genuinely happy. Be genuinely happy. I don't care if you're driving on the way to the hospital because somebody got injured. Tell yourself, be genuinely happy. Be genuinely happy. Because I'll tell you what, the nurses in that hospital, they see some nasty stuff every single day. They could use some happiness. And if it comes from you, and remember, genuine happiness can change a room like you wouldn't believe. Okay? Just like when you go into a very dark room and you light a candle, all right? No matter how much darkness is in that room, that candle overpowers all of the darkness. Just one little candle. That's the same way with genuine happiness. When you walk into a room and you are genuinely happy, and people then see that in you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to change the room, and you're going to have a magnetic influence that is going to attract you to other people. I'm not talking about it in a romantic way, okay? But in terms of, hey, what does he have that I don't? What does he have that I don't? And you're going to see people's reaction to you are going to be so different that you're going to think, why didn't I do this earlier? Why didn't I do this earlier? Why? Because the world's circumstances and the world's influence over you is just nothing but defeat and destruction and, depression for all circumstances. Okay? That's why. But if you tell yourself just for one day, 24 hours, be genuinely happy. Be happy. Tell yourself, be happy. Even every 5 minutes, be happy. Watch the different reaction you're going to get. And that is how you open the door to financial increase. It's one of the ways, I promise you, you could be missing this one thing. And this one thing could turn everything around for you in a second. In a second. Okay? The Lord works that quickly. And he loves blessing happy people. With that being said, thank you so much for watching today. Hope you are very, very blessed. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Take care, everybody.